Okay, and a short information how to add new language to my project. Here's my Google Speech API project, which you can fetch from the GitHub. It has a file called lang.js. This is a node.js module which will provide some functions to return direction codes, directions, so that we can use it in the main application. Okay, so this module has three variables which I have to define. The first one is an array which stores language codes. The other one is an object that contains a mapping from language code to direction codes. The last one is also an object that maps language code to directions. I will now walk you through the English and Polish just to give you an example how to implement your own language. So first of all, we just add a new language code to languages array, and then we define eight geographical directions, and they start with north, northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, and northwest. So it goes into the clockwise direction. As you can see, it allows also to define some aliases. So instead of saying north, you can say forward or up. Instead of saying west, you can say left, right? So it requires to have only one word for every direction, but you are free to add additional ones if you want. For example, south can be back, backward, reverse, and so on. At least one is required. So we define those those arrays, eight of them. Then we prepare the direction codes object, right? So under the language code, we define an array which contains all those eight arrays with the geographical directions. The next thing that we do is to simply flatten this direction codes values. We flatten them so that we pass them to Google Cloud Speech API to increase the accuracy of speech recognition. Uh, these will be set as a simple array, flat array, and Google will use it to better recognize your voice. For example, when I was saying move east in my previous version, move east was recognized as movie. So with explicitly defining move and east, it was able to correctly recognize my voice, but I then decided to shorten it, and without any move go, just the direction is defined here. And that's all. Here is an example of a Polish language. So again, in the languages array, I push Polish language code, and then I have eight directions, also clockwise, starting from north, and also you can define some aliases. So north in Polish is północ, but you can also say góra or przód. So at least one is required. So north east is actually północny wschód, and that's one value. That's perfectly fine. What we do next, same as in English, we are defining direction codes under the key for the Polish language. We are putting an array of eight values. The values are from the geographical directions, and we also flat this array so that we can pass this to Google Speech API to improve the accuracy. And then we have some functions which you don't need to re-implement. All you have to do is to set up those free variables. There is also a test which you can use if you will implement a new language and invoke npm test. It will do some basic cursory checks for you. So for example, every language should have direction codes array of size 8, because there are 8 geographical directions, and it should have at least one alias. So for example, north, up, but at least one is required. And then there is a quick check to check if you provided if you flatten the array and you've provided the directions as well. So that's all. You can implement your own language. Just make sure that your language is supported by Google Cloud Speech API. And that's all. Well, actually, that's not everything. I forgot about one important thing. How does the backend, the node.js application, know which language to use? Well, in the Android application, I implemented a simple toggle button, and this toggle button has on and off states. The off state is using the English language, the on state is using the Polish language. It is a very simple trick that I implemented. This Android application is using the label from the toggle button as the language code, and is passing this language code together with the requests that are sent to the speech recognition service. So if we take a look at my sample curl commands, you can see that together with every recognize request, there is an information about which language to use. Now that's everything.